Ooh, welcome one, welcome all to the Xbox Expansion Pass, your place for thoughtful discussions on gaming without the console war noise. Please make sure you're subscribed, be it on iTunes, Spotify, or right here on YouTube, where we record live on Saturdays. I'm your host, Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost. Today, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logan. And we'll be discussing today's biggest gaming stories from the week, including the official announcement of the Xbox Developer Direct coming up this January 22nd. We have the January Game Pass lineup and major platform news as Avowed heads to PlayStation 5. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's been a pretty normal week for me. I don't know. I went out last night to try a new restaurant and then subsequently left said restaurant to go to a better restaurant. But before that, I went to a secondhand store that was in a little downtown area and picked up an extra copy of Sea of Thieves because I like having physical copies in case I want to hand one out one day. And Call of Duty Cold War for like $10.
Oh. Why did you get that?
Mostly because it's one of those ones that I'd wanted to play, like the theatrics of it being like in the 80s and stuff during the Cold War and all that jazz. I was just like, I've been wanting to check that out for a while, and Xbox has yet to put it on Game Pass, along with a multitude of Call of Duty games that are all first party now that for some reason still have not been added to the library of first party games on Game Pass. So I was like, I'll go pick it up. $10 is nothing. It's definitely a lot better than most of the sales I've seen on it. So I was like, I kind of want to play it. I kind of want to see what that story was like. And so I went and picked up that as well too.
Nice, man. That's great to hear. Hey, Matto1606, member for 21 months, saying hi all. It's nice to see you live. Good to see you. Chick, good to see you as well. Freight Conductor saying, how dare Logan grab an old game on a deal instead of paying full price like those of us at launch? Well, I have some PS5 news for you, my friend. But no, I think the reason I ask why you got it is I never, were you planning to play the campaign? Was that what it was? You want to play that campaign? Did you decide that $10 was cheap enough? You don't think this game's coming to Game Pass at some point? Because Activision games don't seem to want to arrive. Cough, cough. Is that what it was? I'm just curious.
That was kind of the impetus. I wanted to check out the campaign, and with us kind of sitting around. I mean, how many years has it been since the Activision Blizzard deal at this point? And we still have not seen any more news about any of the Call of Duty games coming to Game Pass outside of the new release. And even then, you still have to subscribe to Ultimate for that. So I figure, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I am sick of services. I think these services have gotten to the point where they're a little too gougey. I think Ultimate's still a pretty good deal, especially if you're into Fortnite, which I keep forgetting to go back into, especially with some of the news that's been going on. But it's just one of those things. I was like, man, $10 that's a good enough deal for Cold War this many years removed. And I'm fine playing it just for the campaign and calling it good. I mean, $10 for the campaign, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. But it's just one of those ones. It's like, I'm fine. I'm not gonna be too fussed about $10 compared to, say, like the money I spent on Star Wars Outlaws. So that was kind of the thought behind there. But I mean, like, I got like a comfy, like one of those wearable blankets recently. So I've been looking for ways to stay warm and stay comfortable during the winter, because I'm back to snowy winters after so many years removed in California from Alaska. So I'm getting back into my hibernation mode. And I thought, what better way to stay warm than to buy a game called Cold War?
Look at you. That's fun, man. Well, that's good. I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you're going to check it out. I feel like that's a game that's going to end up in your backlog, but for sure I've done exactly what you've done many a time. So that's cool, man. I'm glad you were able to snag that one.
Yeah.
How
was your week?
I want to give a shout out to Nerd Chat in chat. I see you guys there, our boy X Bacon Gaming as well, and then of course the lovely and amazing Nissa Hauer in here. Clutch Kwando hanging out with us, as well as Nicholas Johnson 1305. Also shout out to our audio listeners as well. Appreciate you all. Thank you guys for being here. Logan, in our notes you have ergonomic pillows and CES content creators as your words of kindness. I couldn't tell if you were trying to leapfrog and segue from your comfy blanket scenario.
No.
Please tell me. I'm confused.
Okay, so the comfy, so the ergonomic blanket, because I would say probably the last year and a half. I don't know what happened, but I was made aware and then started to do my own little research about how bad I snore. And it's tied to like, you know, how you sleep and sleep apnea and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people get like the masks. You know, if I did, I'd probably get like one of the Predator ones or one of the alien face hugger ones if I did want to go that route, because I think that's just the best way to sleep. If I died in my sleep, I would want people to find me with a sleep apnea mask on and it just looked like a face hugger. So, but in an effort to better my sleep, you know, last year I bought a mattress. This year I was looking at pillows and thinking like, how can I get a pillow that's going to be something that keeps my head in the right place and in the right position so that I don't get into that mode where I tuck my chin down and then I lose sleep. And at my age, I'm looking for every possible way to like keep myself in a decent shape so that I'm not like horribly just in a weird, like, I don't want to end up like the Hunchback of Notre Dame by the time I'm 50. That's what I'm hoping for. Basically anything to keep me out of the gym. But the CES part of it,
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, go exercise. What are you talking about?
So, but the CES thing was wild because this is the time of the year where CES always kicks off, and this is where we see all the technology come in. And I can't remember if I sent you the link to it. I think I sent it to you through Instagram, but I saw a handheld controller that is a MagSafe dock for your iPhone. And it looks like a little BlackBerry slide down controller, but it has little handles that swivel out from the bottom to give you like grips for your palms. And then you can use that as a way to like play. But there's also a stand for it, and that's also magnetic. And there's a dock, so you can actually dock your phone and have it connect up to your TV. And I was like, this is like all inclusive when it comes to like just solutions for people that want to do like mobile gaming. Now that is like to the extreme, right? Mm-hmm. But it is kind of following the same vein as what we've seen with a lot of devices, handheld devices. They're constantly trying to find ways to iterate and make that transition, much like with the Switch went from home console with the Wii and the Wii U to a portable console, much like the 3DS, but still retain that kind of like transition form. And we've seen a lot of people go one way or the other. But it was such an innovative idea. In this Nerd Chat's asking, you know, how much is the price? I have no idea, but I sent it to a bunch of people because it was just one of those things that we've seen backbones, we've seen clips for controllers, but we haven't seen anything that is a magnetic connection so that it takes advantage of the MagSafe on iPhones and allows you to have like that kind of more fuller experience with a mobile handheld. So that was just like one example of the stuff that came out of CES. I saw so many cool things come out of CES. I saw a lot of weird stuff come out of CES. Like Razer has their AI tube thing. I don't know if you've seen those AI companion tube things.
Uncomfortable to look
and
at.
It's powered by Grok, which is even scarier. So I'm just like, you know, if I could get a Google Home that was better than the Google Home that I have right now, if I could have something that was like, if I say something to it, instead of it telling me I can't process that or I'm not sure what that means, then I would be all for it, because I really like having a Google Home, even though it listens to me and then changes my algorithms all the time. But I would rather have something that I can talk to and get immediate information and have it contextually like understand the stupid sentence that fell out of my mouth than what I currently have. But stuff like that is like, it's cool, but that one in particular scares the crap out of me. So there was a whole bunch of really cool stuff that came out at CES, and I was just really surprised by a lot of the stuff. I saw like a laptop that had an expandable screen. So imagine like a widescreen monitor in a laptop that was like a rollable monitor. So like you flipped it open, and then two parts came out and actually rolled out and extended the screen. And I was like, that's a thing that, you know, it's like the tech that you don't think about, but the technology's been around, and people are starting to like push the limits of what the concept of what the devices are that we have. And it's just, it was really interesting.
I always feel like CES is really cool for like concept type stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to, you kind of like, you know, roll the dice on what's going to come to like practical consumerism.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, man, that's cool, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you, you know, that made your gaming week better. Cause like to me, a lot of that stuff has potential to impact the gaming industry in a big way. I will tell you what, man, it makes me pause when I hear anything is powered by Grok, and it's like Razer, man. You make the best controller I've ever used in the Wolverine V3, and I'm using Razer keyboards, and I'm just like, that's weird. That's weird.
It's a choice. It's a choice for sure.
A thing, man. It's like, oh, cool. You want Mecha Hitler? Nice. So it goes. My gaming week better is made by two people in our industry. Both in the content creator space and one in the journalism space. Content creator space is, oddly enough, Jesse Norris, who is now in our chat. It's good to see you. Did a number of things to help me out behind the scenes this week, which I really appreciated, helping me connect with different things so I can do coverage down the line, and just in general is a consistent and constant supporter of XEP. And so I had actually mentioned that to our Discord community a couple days ago. I think Nissa and I were chatting about it, but I wanted to make sure that made its way into the podcast, how appreciated it is. And then also shout out to Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, who will be joining me live this Wednesday at 4:00. That's January, I believe, 14th, that he's going to be joining me. Just to talk about the state of the gaming industry, stories that he's broken. If we want to have people join us and add context and share a bit about that, no problem. I would love for everybody to join me there, but Jason was kind enough to donate an hour of his time this coming Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that as well. It will not be the first time I've had a chance to speak with him, but I always feel like I'm gained insight from it. Down the line, we'll have Matt Piscatella on after the yearly report comes out late January. He's going to join us in early February to talk as well. So trying to bring good insight, not console war noise, to the show as we go through
That's fantastic.
I enjoy. Yeah. It's just what I enjoy. So
I would love to know if Jason has a pulse on what the temperament and culture is like over at Blizzard, because he's always kept a very close eye on Blizzard, and things have seemed to go a lot better over there. We haven't heard nearly as much scuttlebutt about like unions or unhappy workers and stuff like that. Content seems to be doing well over there. So I genuinely am curious to know, like, did Xbox save Blizzard from being ground into the nether? Yeah. Just because of Bobby Kotick.
And I would be happy to ask that, since you know me well. You are more than welcome to jot that one down for me when I put out the list. But also, if anybody has a question that they think of in the moment, you can go to the YouTube page, drop a comment there, and that'll be how I keep a running list. So if you guys want to do that, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, no, I'm happy to ask that. I'm also curious about Mike Ibarra and his relationship there, because I've seen that name pop up so much lately. It's really shifted my perception of him. I had a perception, 5 years ago, I had a perception of him. Now it's very different. So I'm just curious what those thoughts are. There's a lot of things to look at. But for now, I'd like us to keep our sights set on, some of the week's kind of relevant gaming news. I think for Xbox fans, and I guess you would say anybody looking to see games come to their platform, as Xbox is the world's biggest third-party publisher, it feels like. we have the Xbox Developer Direct coming up this January 22nd, which is pretty darn cool, all things considered. This will be the fourth Developer Direct that Xbox has put together. We have multiple insiders referencing the idea of a clean reset after, I think it's fair to say 2025 had a very rough PR cycle. However, I did take pause. I was listening to the Nerd Chat and a few others. People were talking about Xbox, and it's, they often go to the Xbox is dead, Xbox is the best, it's the worst. Did they have a good 2025? And I'm consistently going to tell you that Xbox had a very good 2025 in terms of all the games that it released. It released a number of games across a number of genres that were very well received in a good to great status.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when people look at Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo, but Xbox, I think specifically, they're very much like the Hyundai of the gaming verse. It's a good car, it's gonna get you there, but it may not be the Porsche, it may not even be a Ford or Chevy.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you want. But
I like that you went with Ford. Of all the companies that have reputations, you're like, it's not a Ford. I'm like, buddy.
No, but my point is, you have kind of two main players, and then you have several subsequent players that are on the tertiary that do good work, but they don't get the recognition every time, and they're not perfect, of course. But I'm just trying to find an analogy that is appropriate, because Xbox had a fantastic 2025 in terms of output. Let's not forget that we've been able to list, requiring two hands, all the games they put out. Many of them were shown in last year's Developer Direct. We were surprised with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black as a shadow drop, and we found out about Ninja Gaiden 4 kind of in that realm as well. And it's something that I often get I pause when I hear people look back at 2025 and be like, oh, it's a terrible year for Xbox. No, they've shifted their own goalposts. Gamers are still adjusting to that. They've shifted their own expectations. Gamers are adjusting to that. They're still not sure what and where they fit into, where and how they fit into this current gaming climate, but they're still around. We're on I believe it's the 25th anniversary of Xbox this year. It's a big deal. You got Fable and Forza and Halo all on the slated release docket. And then Gears is, I think, this year, right? I think it's fair to say.
If E-Day doesn't come out this year, I'm going to be a very sad boy. That's all I'll say.
You and many other people. Agreed.
I'm so looking forward to that.
As am I, my friend. But just in general, it'll be interesting to watch kind of how this Dev Direct is received, because it tends to set a stage for expectations on the year. We have heard very clearly that Forza Horizon 6 is going to be there. They've got Playground Games is listed twice on the released Xbox Wire article showing Forza Horizon 6, as well as Playground Games' Fable. There's going to be a deep dive into that one for sure. Of course, kind of confirming a lot of the leakers as well as like internal stuff. I'm fascinated because Tom Warren at The Verge has been consistently pointing out that the dev team has been polishing a pretty big vertical slice of Fable. Jez Corden has said that internal milestones for Fable are holding steady very well. They're quiet, but hitting their benchmarks, which is cool. Nate the Hate, who, it always makes me chuckle when I talk about Nate the Hate, because his name's Nate the Hate. And we were interviewing Jason Schreier next week, right? But consistently has a track record of proven stuff. Said that early in 2026, we would see Forza Horizon 6, which has got to be hopeful for a lot of people. And we know that influencers are testing early builds of that, which is kind of cool, all things considered. I think the outlier in what we know for this Dev Direct is that Beast of Reincarnation is going to be there, which is a third-party title, and that's from developer Game Freak, who many people know from the Pokemon franchise. It's a clear indicator in what are a long-running list of indicators that Xbox is consistently trying to strengthen Asian territory presence, specifically Japanese developers in this case, but they're consistently trying to get their foot in the door. That's some of the stuff that we know right now, and we can talk about those as well as any other thought processes. I see you guys in chat. Please drop your thoughts on the Dev Direct, what we know and what you'd like to see there as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting to take a look and see that they went with Beast of Reincarnation. It's so wild to me that Game Freak has been just the company that has always been Pokemon. And I would say probably in the last 5 years, they've started to branch out and started to do other games Meanwhile, Pokemon is still one of the juggernauts of games that gets released. When they put out a new game, it always sells really, really well, regardless of the quality, because the fans are just unapologetically fans. So looking and seeing like what Game Freak has got coming with this developer update, and having them actually speak to it in the format that they have this, because I think that's what I've really appreciated about these dev directs is that you hear from the actual studio, and that sounds so much better than any marketing E3 or Xbox showcase thing that you could possibly do. When you actually get to hear from the folks that are passionate about the thing that they're making, I'm very curious to see where Beast of Reincarnation lands in the year, as well as like how the reception after this developer direct is. For me, the thing that I'm really kind of curious, and shout out to Jesse, says I think it was last week's podcast that I guessed Beast of Reincarnation could be in the developer direct / bow. It's really kind of nice and kudos to Jesse for calling that one, because that would have never been on my bingo card. But I think one of the interesting things here is that we're going to finally have a deeper dive into Fable. Because I would say that for 2026, that is going to be the kind of headliner for this year. Everything is kind of pointing to Fable being the one game that everyone will want to pick up as an Xbox fan, especially given the lineage of the series itself. I think from Lionhead, and it's just a really awesome opportunity for them to give us more than just kind of that tongue-in-cheek dry humor trailer that we got, and then subsequently that really, really beautiful world kind of pan through trailer that they did not too long ago, which really just solidified my desire to play that game. So I want to be wowed by these games and see what's going to do well, because I think we've got a very solid Western RPG with Fable, and then we've got a fantastic racer set in Japan, and then Beast of Reincarnation with Game Freak. And at that point, it kind of makes me wonder, are they going to balance it out with another Western RPG or their whatever the kind of special hidden thing that they will probably reveal, which is kind of becoming a tradition at this point.
Right. No, very well said. When Jesse was talking about it on Xbox Era, shout out to them. Please make that your homepage, please. He said he didn't necessarily predict that it would be, this amazing, AAA experience, 10 out of 10, but that it had the potential to, for the Dev Direct purposes, be kind of the Expedition 33, that third party big game that could do big numbers for Game Pass. And it's a good call out, all things considered. I think when I look at playground games specifically, I think Forza Horizon 6, it doesn't necessarily have a lot to prove, but it very much does as well, because we saw Forza Horizon arrive onto PlayStation, which is a big deal, right? Yeah. Forza Horizon is a very well received franchise, all things considered, surpassing Forza Motorsport, which you can argue is based on the state of Forza Motorsport 7's release. Interpret that however you like, but we know that a lot of resources go into making Forza Horizon, and I absolutely love Forza Horizon. And I'll shout out Crew Motorfest as well for anybody that's seeing those live sales. If you want a Forza Horizon experience and you're waiting for Forza Horizon 6, snag Crew Motorfest. It's very much the same, but in a great way. But Forza Horizon 6 is not a known quantity, but it feels like a known quantity. Whereas you look at Fable, and more than any other of Xbox's pillar franchises, they've had Fable on the back burner. I don't think we know what to expect from Fable. I don't think we know what caliber and quality we're looking at. And Luke Lore's fear is that this is another Indiana Jones. And when I say that, I know many people have Indiana Jones on their Game of the Year list for, I think it was 2024. They truly evangelize it, because obviously that game looked great. The acting was incredible. The gameplay was very good. Critical darling, all things considered, but it didn't necessarily, in my mind, make the headlines that I think many would want from a AAA studio or even a comparative Uncharted type franchise. And so my hope is that we get this incredible game. I do worry that it hits, everyone's like, wow, this is really good, but it doesn't move the needle for anybody.
Yeah.
And move the needle is a relative term, right? But I don't think Indiana Jones sold Xboxes. Not that I think anything's selling Xboxes, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's moving perception for Xboxes, I guess is the right way to put it. So it has the potential to do that. I wonder if it does.
I will be very curious to see how this lands, because I think we've had this discussion many a time, and the question always comes back to what is success to Xbox? What is a sign of success? Because we've seen things like Hi-Fi Rush be successful, but still run into that situation where the studio gets shut down. We've also seen games like Starfield. For all intents and purposes, it's hard to know if that was considered successful, but that was supposed to be successful. So I'm very curious to see what success means to Xbox in an era where their mentality is to serve Xbox first and then serve PlayStation second, and see like how much more money they can make. Because one of the things that I think we've heard less about is how Xbox needs to diversify their means of getting their games to more players to justify the costs of these games. And for all intents and purposes, I would say that Fable looks like a game that costs a lot. And I would say the same thing with Forza Horizon. I would say the same thing for Gears of War E-Day. There's a lot of games that Xbox has slated up that looks like they're going to be expensive to make. And I genuinely hope that they are able to do well and do right by Fable, and make Fable one of those games that people go and play and then realize how much fun they had with it, and then want to go back to check out some of the earlier games and give those a chance. But I hope that they don't take too much DNA from the original Fables. I think that they would do themselves a disservice if they pulled too much, because I think there were things about the systems in the Fable games that if you play them nowadays feels very dated. And I hope that they keep a more modern mentality when it comes to playing games in 2026 for Fable. But they've got a lot to prove, both with the fans of the IP itself, but with just game people in general. Like this is their game of the year. Like this is their Wolverine effectively. And I will be curious to see how well this does, and if it's good enough to justify them wanting to bring it out. Because I think if it does well, there's a chance that it might linger on Xbox as an exclusive more than other titles that are more recently going to get kicked over to PlayStation 5.
Sure. I think the big onus is you got to give people a reason to care about Fable. Otherwise, it's just a good looking game.
Yeah.
And you've got to talk to audiences that don't know what Fable is, that weren't alive around then. You got to find a way for Fable to be recognizable. When you look at Indiana Jones, I said this many times leading up to it, and I feel I was proven right. No one cared in the big masses picture, right? Kids don't know, still didn't know, they didn't pick it up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, you look at something like Wolverine. Well, you've got the entire MCU, you've got a Deadpool movie, you've got Marvel Rivals talking about this character, making it relevant. And so that's the difficult position I think Playground Games and Xbox and Microsoft Gaming find themselves in with Fable. That said, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to seeing Forza Horizon. Honestly, I don't really care much about Beast of Reincarnation. Not really on my. Okay, cool. I'll play it when it comes out.
Opportunity to surprise. Yeah.
Yep. What other titles do you anticipate seeing at this Dev Direct? I am curious there. Before you answer the question, I do want to note Jesse saying casual struggle more with first person versus third person, and he just made that fact up. But I do think it has merit. I would tend to agree as well. So what games do you want to see there? The Xbox got a lot of stuff in the hopper. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing is the developer direct is a fantastic way to showcase what is short term for the next 6 to 8 months, I would say, with most of the titles that they do. This is their kind of way of showing like, hey, this is what's slated for 2026 that you need to be aware of before we go into the showcase in June. So for me, there's a lot of titles that have been thrown around, but I think one of the ones that would be very interesting to see is the rumored remake of Fallout 3.
Mhm.
I think that was one of those games that really kind of shifted people's perspective on what Fallout could be from the original kind of design language of 1 and 2, and then moving into 3 with it's just completely, it's like watching GTA on PlayStation and thinking, how did we get to GTA 5? And well, that was GTA 3. And I think Fallout 3 was that as well too. So I would be very interested to see if they do a Fallout 3, if it's a remake or if it's a remaster, because I would very much like to see a remake, and actually get an idea of, how many people are genuinely interested in this. Because when the Fallout series started up on Amazon, a lot of people were drawn into that world, and we all had that conversation. Why didn't Bethesda plan this better? Why didn't Bethesda, who is so dedicated to Starfield, have any plans to try and reinvigorate the Fallout franchise beyond just having this show kick up? And I think that one of the things that they could have done was say, hey, Fallout 4 is still in a decent place. We've still got Fallout 76 with lots of content coming. We're remaking Fallout 3 to give folks an introduction to that world in a state that looks and plays better than it did back when it was released.
I think the big thing is that remake is tougher than remaster for sure.
Yes.
And I respect and understand that wholeheartedly. I do hope the Oblivion remake remaster did well, because it was really cool to see that, and then it provides an opportunity for people to get into a franchise. I do love your point about how Starfield heavy Bethesda is, and yet not giving people necessarily what they want from Starfield. And mind you, I'm a guy with 100+ hours in Starfield, so don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but the game is highly flawed, feels very dated. It would really be nice to see more people take on, I don't know, Bethesda be more appropriate. I need my dog to shut up. Oh my goodness.
How's she doing, by the way?
She's
those
great.
that don't
She's
know.
a lot better. Yeah,
Okay,
she's
good.
doing a lot better. We had a very expensive vet visit this week. She's so, I don't know why my wife's like playing with her right now in the house. Like, step out. What are you
So
gonna do?
the Starfield thing, did you happen to see the mods that someone made that turned Starfield into a Star Wars game?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that was something that I think when you have 180 gigs worth of mods that go and take the base of Starfield and you turn it into a Star Wars game, you really start to question why Bethesda is the company that everyone still glorifies so much. And is it because of the past stuff that they've done? And looking at what they've done recently, it's like they're spending too long on building games. The games that launch are not compelling enough to justify the kind of passion and love that the fans have for them. Mm-hmm. And it really makes me sit down and wonder. I was like, well, if modders are coming out and turning this game into a Star Wars game, and everyone is hearing about this and wondering why didn't that get made? Mm-hmm. It's like, what is it on Xbox to try and like throw that to them? Like, I mean, we've got Indiana Jones, a Disney IP, getting their own game at this point. We've got Bond coming.
Oh, I'm so excited for Bond
from IOI. It's like, where's the Star Wars love? We've been hearing all these things about Knights of the Old Republic. I don't think any of that's going to go. Outlaws was good.
Yeah, but we have Star Wars Racer, Star Wars Eclipse, the new the not Old Republic, but it's the KOTOR spiritual successor. There's at least one
Vaporware.
other one that we know. No, not Vaporware. The one that we heard about in the last like 3 weeks. That one. Like, there are at least 4 Star Wars titles in development right now that we know about. I think Star Wars is getting plenty of love. Fate of the Old Republic. Thank you, Gentlestone. Good to see you, by the way.
I think that's going to be Vaporware. I still don't
have
any
2028 game. Delayed to 2029 possibly.
Why are we hearing about it now? Like, it sounds like they're trying to drum up
Casey
money.
Hudson needs a job, bro. Anthem and a few other things. But I don't think Star Wars is getting any lack of representation. There was a time during the EA era where Star Wars was underserved. I don't feel like it's underserved now at all. At all. Even if they're games that I necessarily want aren't there. But yeah, the Jedi Survivor sequel, so the completion of that trilogy with Cal Kestis. Like I think Star Wars is fine, but I will go back to Bethesda. I do think Bethesda is a bit of a mess in terms of their release cadence. They really have to clean that up. If Machine Games can develop games quickly, Ninja Theory looks like they've got multiple games in the hopper. Oh my gosh, Obsidian put out 3 games in 2025, 2.5 to count the early access, to be fair. Todd and his team need to step it up. Starfield can't be the only thing. It doesn't matter if you have a unique vision just there. You do have to execute a bit on what players want if you're going to work for an entity that large. Expedition 33 did not give players what they wanted. They made what they wanted to make, and players actually ended up loving it. But that's a smaller team, smaller scope, smaller budget. When you work for Microsoft Gaming and you're supposed to make the sequel or the spiritual sequel to Elder Scrolls Skyrim, you gotta take care of people and give them what they want. And Starfield did not do that en masse, but I really hope that with their not quite 2.0 update, because they really want that cyberpunk re-release kind of thing, which is fine to me. You take a good game and you make it great, because I do love Starfield. I don't know if you noticed, but just as a little tease for people for future stuff at XEP is right here. My little Starfield controller there. I love Starfield.
I don't know where mine is,
but I do think it's worth mentioning something there. I do want to. Stormy Sea Dog has been active in chat the whole time. It's good to see you, Stormy Sea Dog. Says Bethesda, I think they have a ton of pressure, though, at the same level as GTA 6. No, not the same level as Grand Theft Auto 6. Nothing has the same pressure as Grand Theft Auto 6 because Grand Theft Auto 6 is so unique, and it is a franchise that has hit on every single release they've had, and it's only gotten better. And GTA 5, despite releasing over a decade ago at this point, continues to be the top seller, or in the top 3, top 5 sellers every single month through GTA Online. So not the same level, but your point is well taken. Bethesda does have high expectations. Starfield did need to be better. They do have a show with Fallout. Fallout does need to be happening at a faster cadence, and there's no reason that Todd Howard has to be in charge of every single release coming out of Bethesda proper. Doesn't have to happen. So
I think that's why I'm hopeful for Fallout 3, because I think Fallout 3 was something that was special during the time. And I think that if a remake comes in, a remake really needs to modernize a lot of those systems, because Bethesda has such a weird way of making their games that is so, it's almost Nintendo in a sense, where they're just like, we'll put jump on Y, who cares? And you're just like, why would you do that? Just put it on a button that makes sense. So I'm hoping that people get an opportunity to really dive into the Fallout franchise, because I think Fallout is second to, and not because it has been forever, but I just think that Fallout is a better game franchise than what Starfield has started out to be. And it's fair to say that Starfield still has a lot of life before it gets to the point where it may mature into something like a Witcher 3, where people may go and play Witcher 1 and 2 and realize just how big and crazy those games are, but it is nothing compared to Witcher 3. And people will look forward to it kind of the same way like Starfield is in the first iteration. Let's see what Starfield 3 looks like. Same way with like Fallout, but I would like to have more love around Fallout, just because I personally like that world better than like Elder Scrolls and stuff. So that's kind of my hope. But did you have a game that you were looking forward to being as kind of like the shadow reveal or the sneak peek or the hidden thing?
I don't think there's a single game that I want to see. Now we did get news of the Game Pass January 2026 wave, and like it's a good list. You got good stuff in there. But you have to think there's gonna be a shadow drop, something. Hopefully not. I don't think it'll be massive per se. Like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black was a wonderful size shadow drop. You didn't know it was coming. It's not like it's going to light the world on fire, but people that play it are going to love it. You can go in and examine the quality, get you excited for the thing that's coming down the line. That's cool. I think you'll see something similar there, but I don't know that I have one thing I want to see. Xbox has always been the brand that I really love and identify with. Halo, Forza, Gears, top tier for me. Love State of Decay. I don't think you see State of Decay this year. Campaign Evolved is this year. I'd love to see news of or a teasing of Campaign Evolved 2 or Halo 2 or like, are you doing something there? Are you going to treat the Gears franchise with a bit more respect than Gears Reloaded got? There are a number of things they could do. They also have an entire back catalog of IP available to them via Activision that has largely gone spotlighted, underutilized. Some of those titles need to make their way back. I consistently always hope for some of that licensed stuff to make its return because people enjoy money. So maybe I'd put out a joking Blue Sky post that did not land as a joke. So I was like, sometimes I'm bad at that. But it was like Forza, Fable, Halo Campaign Evolved, 2 surprises and a tease or something like that. Sure. Like Doom the Dark Ages DLC is this year.
Yeah.
Do we see that? Do you see Starfield PS5? Do they piggyback? We've got Avowed coming to PlayStation 5 now, South of Midnight and Starfield. Like, do they do that? I wonder.
I think they announced Redfall going to PlayStation 5.
I hate you, God. Redfall, what a wasted opportunity for early access.
Wasted world. The world was beautiful.
I mentioned Avowed. I did want to make sure we talk about that.
Yeah. Just to round out the end there. I think that there's a lot of games that I would like to see there, but I am fully anticipating them for BlizzCon. Like the Diablo expansion. We've got a rumored StarCraft shooter, which would be amazing considering a lot of people wanted to see Ghost come to fruition and never did. And Midnight is releasing for Warcraft. There's a rumor that they might have the Last Titan expansion for World of Warcraft there. They desperately need to do something with Overwatch because Overwatch is still kicking. It's still getting a lot of content releases. The cosmetics and stuff are fantastic, but nobody cares about Overwatch 2. And that's something that they have to figure out. They've got one janitor who found the keys to Heroes of the Storm, and he's been going in there and making changes to the game in 2025 and 2026 that is just like, how does this janitor, 1, know how to code, and 2, balance pretty well? So, but as long as he vacuums, that's all that Blizzard cares about. So I'm very interested to see what comes, but I think the developer direct is going to be solely focused on a lot of the Bethesda or Xbox stuff. And it would be very interesting to see if the sneak peek was actually Gears E-Day. Yeah. Because it is noticeably absent.
It is. I really hope they give us dates or date windows. I do think that's important.
Oh, dates would be great.
It would be genuinely appreciated for a number of reasons. Avowed did get a date, and that's not meant to be an intentional segue, but it works. Avowed's release date for PlayStation 5 is now February 17th, which is going to be kind of a 1-year exclusivity window for Xbox, which I don't think anybody gets to be upset about. Interestingly, alongside this release, you get an anniversary update for Xbox. It's free to Xbox players, new game plus mode, a number of fixes, new playable races, new kind of buffs and tweaks to different NPCs, and a slew of other just general fixes. But what I find fascinating about this, Logan, is that when this game released on Xbox in 2025, it was $70. It's launching on the PlayStation at $50. Mind you, it retails now for about that or less, depending on various sales and stuff. But a lot was made of that $70 price tag for Xbox games in 2025 for $40 price tags for South of Midnight or $50 for Hellblade 2. And it's interesting to see them keep playing and wondering. I've heard some people say they're really upset that they bought it at 70. Others saying, well, I mean, games go down in price all the time. I think it's a natural part of the industry, a natural part of the how things go. I didn't find myself being upset about it, more kind of just raising an eyebrow, like, that's interesting. But I loved Avowed. It isn't my favorite games of last year. I love Avowed. I hope more people enjoy it. I worry it's not going to land loudly. Hellblade 2 was too quiet. Number of other games from like Gears Reloaded, no one seemed to really care about, or at least it didn't seem to hit loudly. I guess is a better way to put that.
So this is an opportunity for Xbox to showcase one of the better titles that came in 2025. Avowed was a very fun game to play, even not knowing the history behind like the franchise itself, the IP itself. You can play Avowed and really just enjoy the actual combat and exploration of the game. The choices that they have you make can be kind of hard to do. Clutch Quan Goat coming in saying, I don't think games have to land loudly for them to be successful. I think
a good point.
Avowed coming in at 50 shows that Xbox doesn't need the extra $20 for that. I think they're also taking a look at the market and saying like, how much are they really going to justify being able to sell this? Maybe it didn't do well, and that's why they think that the lower price will maybe entice people a little bit more. But a lot of titles over on PlayStation that have been doing well have all been coming in at $40. And it's going to be very, very hard for games that ask 70 to justify that extra $30 when you have games like Arc Raiders at 40, Helldivers 2 at 40. There's a lot of titles that have done fairly well at the $40 price point. And that's a lot on the fact that they're smaller titles or that they are trying to buy the mind share through the gameplay. And I think Avowed is one of those ones that can buy the mind share through the actual playability of it. The actual action and combat is very good in that game. And I think that will be more compelling. But that's, people getting upset. It's like me trying to justify my frustrations with spending $40 on Star Wars Outlaws after people paid 60, 70 for it after launch, and now being upset because it's coming to Game Pass and I didn't play it yet. That's on me.
That's on you. That's your fault. And early adopters always pay more and get a less clean version of something. That is the nature of releasing to the masses and updates in this world we live in. So I don't mind it being $50. I raised my eyebrow. That was it. You know what I mean? But I got to play a game that I loved a year ahead of another audience that is now paying a bit less. And this game's coming out with new content for me to play. Should I go back? I don't have to pay anything if I'm on Xbox. I don't see a reason to truly be upset at this. Avowed is a game I had hoped would land more loudly on any platform. I loved it. I will tell you selfishly, it was a real privilege to get to interview Carrie Patel. That was the first Xbox interview we ever got at XEP. I felt recognized by Xbox back before, at a time where I wasn't sure we ever would. And so I have a little bias in that, and I'll let my audience know that for real. But like, I loved playing that game. The combat of that game was amazing, and it told me that I love or had the potential to love Obsidian games at a time when I'd never played one. And then I fell in love with Grounded, and truly Outer Worlds 2 just hit at the time it just hit at a time I didn't get to play it. You know what I mean? I fell in love with Arc Raiders. It was Halloween time. I was doing grad school. That just missed it. So I don't want to find reasons to be upset at this. I'm excited for the PlayStation audience to check this out. I hope it opens their door to more games from Obsidian. I hope it opens their minds to the facts that Xbox is a multi-platform publisher. They might have some stuff you like. If you like this, hey, campaign evolves around the door or around the corner. You know what I mean? It's there. Whatever.
I will say that the current price for Avowed on Steam is $50.
There you go.
So if you're looking to buy Avowed and you're upset that you paid 70 versus 50, even on Steam right now, the base cost is $50. It's been on sale as low as $35. So it's one of those things that like it's just how the pricing of games goes.
General Stone paid me a kind compliment about that Carrie Patel interview. Thank you. Freight Conductor comes in saying, thank you. For those upset, they shouldn't buy anything outside of deep discounts during major Steam sales. Yeah, sometimes you have to pay for the quality you want. Oftentimes sales are available, and that's just how it is. You mentioned that $40 price point, Logan. Arc Raiders was my game of the year last year. Absolutely loved it. I still play it. I want to read you some sales numbers we got from Alinea Analytics about Arc Raiders. Game that came out at $40, all platforms, save Switch, I believe. All right. So last month, Steam was Steam's highest grossing game. This is in December. Was Arc Raiders with over 100 million players. Valve storefront generated $1.6 billion in gross revenue last month, which is crazy. That's just Steam specifically. I misspoke when I said just Arc Raiders, but that's up 22.7% over December of 2024, which is pretty cool. So Steam storefront generated 100 million players and $1.6 billion of revenue. And a lot of that had to do with Arc Raiders, which was a clear number one, that in the 2 weeks between December 21st and January 4th, they had 1.2 million copies sold during its own sale. It was $40, and then it was on a little bit more sale, which is crazy. I just think that's wild to me, because even on Boxing Day alone, Embark's Arc Raiders sold 250,000 copies just on that one day. They've had the highest daily active user count to date on every platform, and almost 3.2 million players played Arc Raiders via Steam. That's 53%. I think I read that right. I hope I read that right. But my big point is Arc Raiders, not a full price game, doing buku numbers, just buku numbers. And that's really cool. And Steam, mind you, that storefront getting a lot of love this past month. They've got a Steam machine on the way. Rumored price points are debatable, I think is a fair way to put that. Some outlets in Europe, I think it was Czech, but I'm not sure, saying it could come around. Was it Czech Republic? Okay. Saying that like a 512 gigabyte model would come in at $950, and then a 2 terabyte would come in around roughly $1,100, but $1,050. I will tell you wholeheartedly, but from everything I have heard, because I've been paying close attention to this part behind the scenes, that is not accurate. That is slightly too high from the expected release. That is not to say these things are going to be cheap, but I had heard $750 and then a little bit higher for a better memory one. No telling. That could be wishful thinking. Lots of things in flux. Luke Lore is not Nate the Hate, not Jason Schreier, not Jeff Grubb, but I know enough people in there, and I enjoy a lot of what Valve does. I still have my eye on a Steam machine. I am saving up for one. I sold my PlayStation 5 earlier this week. I got other stuff boxed up, ready to go. I'm just making room of stuff I don't use, and textbooks are expensive, so that personal fund's not as big as it once was. So I'm eyeing that Steam machine release, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm still excited for the Steam machine. Legit, like that is one of the things that because as I've been like getting more and more on Steam and adding more and more stuff to it, especially with some of the sales and stuff that they have going on, I am looking forward to what I can play on my TV that I have through my Steam, because right now, like, I've got a pretty decent amount of games. Like Witcher 3 I have on Steam. I don't have it on, at least I don't think I have it on anything else. But I remember I picked it up on Steam as like one of the first games for my account. And that was one of those things where I was like, I'll probably play this. And it served me well, like back in 2018. But I have not gone through that game. And that's one of those, like, it's one of those, can't remember what we call it, but it's like the guilty sin.
It's like in your backlog,
Yeah, but it's one of those ones that I want to play through, right? And it's like, if I have a Steam machine, I'll have access to all of the games that I've been picking up on Steam and be able to play those like on my TV. And then I can get away from being in front of the PC and still have access to my Xbox library, my Steam library, my PlayStation library, my Nintendo library. I'll have it all up on one device, because and granted, it's not going to look as good as what my PC can do. But if I'm just trying to play like an old game that's casual and whatnot, and I don't want to buy it on another platform because I already own it on Steam, what is worth that to me? Is it worth having another device? Is that device being $1,000 justified. It's wild to me that in 2020 we had the current gen consoles release at $500.
Yeah.
Now you can't buy those for less than 700 typically. And now we're looking at 2026 being a year where we have a effectively a PC console as $1,000, and that's wild to me. That is crazy.
It really is. It's funny to me also that like I'm in this realm, like I'm willing to spend close to $1,000 on a Steam machine, but it's because of how well served by the library and the hardware of the Steam Deck I have been. And it's like, ooh, that is very telling. That is very telling that I'm like, I enjoyed this storefront, this experience so much that I am willing to do so. I'm willing to endeavor to have something like that. Now, you don't need one, right? If you've got a PC and you enjoy gaming at your desk, you're there. Other devices do offer the ability to access multiple libraries. I told you I messed around with my Steam Deck last week. I have my GOG and Epic libraries synced now with my Steam. Cool, right? That is the future, I think, and it really is up to Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo to figure out where they want to stand within that. But it speaks to if Valve can't get a device out that's underpowered compared to modern standards at a certain price point that is approachable, what are you doing with PlayStation 6, with the Xbox Next? What do you do there? That's a tough one. You have to think Switch 2 is going up in price too. That's a tough place to navigate.
To be honest, it's really hard to like even jump into that topic because I just saw that Freight Conductor just gifted 5 subs, 5 memberships to folks in chat.
You're amazing.
So it looks like a Silent Cypher got one. Looks like X Bacon Gaming got one. Ben Cold Shadows, Live Gamer, and Painful Discourse. Yeah, Painful Discourse got one. So shout out, make sure you guys thank Freight Conductor for the memberships as well too. I think that's a much different argument to be had about like the pricing on there, because I think that it doesn't matter what PlayStation puts their console out as. They've shown that they can still hold the market share between generations, transferring between generations. They're still showing the same growth as the PS4, even with the increased costs of the consoles, where in PlayStation 4's era, the cost of the console was actually going down. And it's surprising to me. So I don't think it really matters what PlayStation wants to put the PS6 at, because I think whatever they put it at, it's still going to sell really, really well. I think this is going to speak volumes to what Xbox has to prove. But we're seeing discussions being had about how the next Xbox console is going to be more of like what the Xbox Ally is, in that it's a PC that can play console games. And that it in some ways does kind of frighten me, just because I'm so expectant that my Xbox library will continue to push forward with backwards compatibility, that if it's going to be more of an Xbox Ally, and the play anywhere aspect of things and the stream anywhere aspect of things is them basically saying, hey, you can get access to your old library, but it's going to be on a server rack, and your digital goods are going to be how you get access to that. And you're not going to be able to do that with your physical library. That I'm like, that's concerning as someone who has, like a fair number of games, not like a huge collection, but I do have some games that I use physically, and I would rather not have to buy those digitally. But I mean, if I've got the physical disc, it would be nice to still be able to utilize that in the future. Right. Where with PlayStation, I feel like maybe there's a chance that they'll still sell a disc option for their PlayStation 6, but with Xbox, I don't know. That's still kind of up in the air.
I think you're not getting discs next year for Xbox.
Yeah, I mean they haven't done discs for most of their games,
right? Yeah,
in quite a while.
Yeah, you're not getting a disc in next generation, which I think is releasing next year, but might have gotten bumped. But yeah, you're not getting a disc. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. And like Xbox hardware is just in a unique place. Again, Xbox is changing. Xbox, I think themselves are doing great. Microsoft Gaming, I'm not enjoying at all. But the hardware space is just a unique element, all things considered. So,
Yeah.
Logan, I want to take this moment to give a shout out to our patrons. Those who have gone to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass and chosen to support us. We know that times are tough, times are tight, but you guys have gone there, donated your hard-earned dollars, $3 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever it is, to help us keep the lights on, to help us navigate the content creation space. And we really, really appreciate you guys because times are tight. And so whether you are a member on Patreon, on YouTube, if you've double dipped, if you've ever donated, thank you so much. If you've ever shared, thank you so much because that is extremely helpful. Also, I'm going to read our tier 2 and 3 shout outs from Patreon. I want to give thank yous to Jesse Norris, Glyphere, Jimmy, Matto1606, Matt Valdez, Clutch Quando, Omen, Jesse Prius, Fatto, Aaron G, Nick Bentley, The Scarecrow, Ken Rosing, Fabian Winkler, Regis Stella, the Brony Pirate, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randolph Thor 19, Hafrican, Game Positive, Jampack Sam, Red Beast, Dano 12, DJ Hero, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Thank you to any and everyone who has taken time to share, to like, to subscribe. To our audio listeners, if you got a break between sets, if you're on a walk, if you're able to at any point, dropping a review over on your platform of choice does help us as well. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right, Logan, the captain. I want to talk a little smidgen more about that Steam machine, just briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Full clear, yes or no? This thing's $1,000, not counting tax. Are you getting it?
Yeah, I think I would. I think at $1,000 with it being a PC, that's just kind of like a console system. I expect that's something like I would not go for less than 2 terabyte. I think 2 terabytes a great place to be for most consoles. But it's one of those things that I don't see the cost of consoles going down at this point. With the RAM shortages and the way that the industry is moving towards pushing hardware towards AI, the AI bubble at this point. I mean, I'm expecting the consoles for Xbox and PlayStation to be around that. And anyone that's hoping for a $500 console, that's not going to happen. I would be impressed if Xbox is able to release those for $700 for their next gen. I'd be very impressed if they could get $700, but I'm fully anticipating those being a lot higher now. $1,000 for a 2 terabyte PC that sits in front of my console or sits in front of my TV. It's a lot, but it's one of those things. It's like, do I want it? Yes. Why? Because that's where I have games that I want to access and play. And there's more possibility of me playing those single player games on my TV than when I'm sitting down in front of my computer because I get too distracted. And I'm usually, if I have access to playing with friends on my PC, chances are that's probably where I'm going to be. If I want to focus in on like a single player experience, it's probably going to be on my TV. And there's some games on my Steam library that I would like to actually go and sit down and play through as a single player experience. So it's a lot of money. I'm not saying that that's for everyone, and I'm not saying that that's a good price point, but it's something that I personally am willing to save up for.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I anticipate the device being $750 at the bottom tier, and then if it has a more memory option, you're around $900. That's what I anticipate it being. We'll see what they end up doing. I think Valve is a company that can get away with overpricing if they want to. I also don't think it's going to move the big needle in the gaming industry outside of the people that are already in the know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think random people are going to be like, oh, Steam Machine, I heard about that. I just don't expect that. But I think I am heading in the direction where I want a Steam library just as much as I want my Xbox library. And the barrier for me to everyone that's like, Luke, go PC. Respectfully, I don't want to sit at my desk to play games. That's just not where I enjoy playing games. So I like, it does suit someone like me, but I think I'm an outlier case, and I respect that also. Bacon predicting in the chat saying $899 for a 2 terabyte. That's what I think also. $900 for a 2 terabyte, $750 for your base model. That's my expectation also.
It's interesting to me to see some of the folks talk in chat about the pricing of it. And when I look at the pricing for that, I question, like, how much am I willing to spend for the experience? Well, for a console experience that is at the specs that it is, which I think I put in the notes, that it's got an AMD Zen 4. It's got a 6C up to, let's see, 12. I don't know some of these numbers. But the GPU's got an RDNA 3, 28 CUDA cores, I think, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigs of DDR5, which there's not really a reason to have DDR5 RAM nowadays. I don't think a lot of stuff really takes advantage of it, but it has it has something that I would say is worth about.
RAM. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong spot. I'm with you. Yep.
But looking at the specs and thinking about the price point, $900 to $1,000. How is that any different than people that went out and bought $1,000 Xbox ROG Ally X?
I do not think it's very different. However, I think those that are purchasing it are defending that price point by saying, well, it's portable and I can dock it to go to my big screen. And I think that's a fair response.
But you still have to buy. So I think that's the difference, is people are arguing their console experience in what they want. Mm-hmm. No different than how I would. Like, what I want is a good experience with my Steam library on the TV. That's mm-hmm. what a Steam machine is going to do. People that are buying the Xbox Ally X are saying, I want my console Xbox experience handheld, and they're justifying the price that way. So from that standpoint, I don't see a difference or a reason why people should really think of the pricing for a Steam machine to be that much different than a handheld. Because I even think the Steam Deck itself is older, but significantly less than most of the handhelds on the market right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And from that perspective, I'm like, if I'm spending $1,000 for a PC that sits in front of my TV and gives me access to the games that I want that are not on my PC, or sits at my TV, not at my PC, I would much rather go with that. And if I'm going to spend $1,000, I want to spend it on something that is going to give me a good experience as opposed to a portable experience, because I don't need to leave my apartment. I have everything I need here except for food and girlfriend. So one of the, outside of that, I'm comfortable being at home. I have all the stuff that I would want for there. So $1,000 would either go towards an Xbox Ally, which I didn't do because I thought that was too much for a portable that I didn't need. Mm-hmm. But I do have a TV, and it's a nice TV. So why not put the money towards more investment for that?
Well said. I will be interested to see what the announced dates and numbers are when Valve chooses to do that. Hopefully this month, because my understanding is it's releasing fairly soon, Q1. Interested to see that. Especially interested to see how that impacts Xbox or Microsoft in any way, shape, or form, as far as what they're looking to do with their future. Because we see through the ROG Ally that they're trying to unify the storefront gamer experience, but also Windows isn't necessarily being well received in that space. But that's what the next Xbox is going with. So there's a lot to really break down. I think it's going to be fun to watch regardless. Really enjoying our live chat, by the way. They're popping off. Logan, we saw and we kind of, touched on this briefly when we were discussing our expectations for shadow drops and the like for the developer direct. But January 2026, that sets off Xbox's 25th year anniversary. They seem to be coming in real strong with Game Pass releases. And I think it's worth mentioning some of the titles they've included. Already available is Atomfall over on Game Pass Premium, Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition. You've got Final Fantasy content coming through, which is a big deal given Final Fantasy VII's impending release. Later this month, you're seeing Star Wars Outlaws, might even be out by the time some of you are listening to this, which is a game that I think was very underplayed. And now that it's been updated so well, many people should return to include myself. My Little Pony, which again might sound comedic in this audience, but if you're talking about a subscription service that you're paying out the wazoo for and you have a family, it's doing a lot to give you a wide variety of games. Resident Evil Village is on January 20th. That's several weeks ahead of Requiem, which is pretty darn cool. Memories in Orbit is a Metroidvania style game. I had never heard of this one. This is Day One Edition. Neat. And a game called Nova Roma. These are what we know is coming. We also are seeing the Atomfall rematch in Warhammer 40K. We're in Game Pass and now I moved into the premium tier. Yep, that's what I've got so far. But to me, that's a very strong opening month for their 25th anniversary. I really want to see Xbox take advantage of their back catalog of anything not over on Game Pass and really go hard with what makes Xbox special in this 25th year.
Yeah, I think that they've got a great lineup this month. It just needs to continue. In some of the things that are actually kind of like concerning for me that I need to pay closer attention to are what's actually leaving. So like Neon White, The Ascent, and Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn are all leaving soon on Game Pass. So those are titles that like I still never got a chance to sit down and play Flintlock, and I wanted to.
Game.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it just hit at the wrong time. I think I was in the process of selling stuff, packing, and moving when that came out, and I just did not get an opportunity. Plus, I think Grounded 2 had released, so I was like working on the review and then subsequently playing later on for that, and I just never got a chance to sit down. But that's actually leaving Game Pass soon, so it's like I should probably pull some time away and try and get a little bit of that just to get an experience, so that I can kind of keep an eye on it. But if I miss it, I miss it. It's one of those things like we've been talking about all episode is when you buy it, try and justify the cost, justify your purchase. It's like buy stuff that you plan on playing, because otherwise you end up like me spending $40 on Outlaws when I'm already going to be paying for Game Pass and it's coming and I still haven't played it.
But you didn't know that it was going to arrive. You did get it at a price you were willing to pay at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should be beating yourself up because something's now available. Tron Ares or I don't know, some other game or movie that's released recently is going to show up in Disney Plus. It's going to show up in Netflix or whatever it might be. But when you see it $30 right there and you don't have to go to the theater and you're there with your girlfriend, you're like, let's watch this. I wanted to see it. That's just kind of how it is. That's just what it is. You mentioned Grounded 2, which made me think, they've got a content update coming. New buggy, Ladybug, which sounds so silly to anyone that's not in the know, but once you're in the know, you're like, yes. I do plan to go back to that game and put a lot more time into it. I was 50 plus hours. And I think I maxed out on what was available, which is incredible for an early access release. But then also we saw news that Towerborne is exiting early access in the free-to-play model entirely and now going into a paid premium model. And it's going to be offline capable and a premium title releasing at $25. So premium, interpret that how you like. $25 for a standard, $29.99 for a deluxe. This will be on February 26th. Originally, this was a live service title with seasonal content. Now it's been reframed to be an action RPG with optional co-op. Offline play makes me very happy to hear, particularly as someone who loves a lot of games that are online tied and you really can't experience them anymore. Shout out to Anthem. I'm interested to see just if Towerborne makes a dent and any noise, because I know for a while that was a big thing. I remember Paris Lily had championed that game. I never played it, and I
Yeah.
should have. I should have. So
I watched gameplay of it. It looked interesting, but it's definitely one of those games that if I wanted to play it, I probably would have made more of an effort to check it out. But it's interesting to me because this was one of those titles that Xbox was like, "Hey, check out Towerborne and stuff," and I'm kind of like, okay. I mean, yeah, it looks interesting, but it's not one that I really care about. I think it's interesting that they are moving to a pay for content means of like monetization. Says to me that they feel confident that they can do that and still make money. Or maybe that they weren't making enough money with the free to play model and they need to move to a different monetization model to try and justify the development further on. So compelling one way or the other. I think it's an interesting move. I'll be very curious to see like how it plays out. And whether or not that works for them. Hopefully it does. Hopefully they're able to kind of justify the shift. We saw Overwatch 2 go from a paid model to a free to play model because it was hurting. So good signs to Towerborne if they're able to move from free to play to paid, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. One of the things that I am curious about is kind of live service versus premium, online, offline. I look at a lot of what Xbox has released, and like sometimes it really seems to want to be a live service game, but it maybe not be feature complete or have the content that's there. Thinking about Redfall right now, looking at Towerborne, looking at other games that they kind of talked about when they were early access, Grounded 2, for 33 Immortals, any number of just titles that you're not sure whether you're playing it alone or with people, and I really wonder, maybe this is a stretch to get here, but hopefully people are staying with me here. I'm wondering what State of Decay 3 means, what State of Decay 3 is, because I love State of Decay 1 and 2, and a lot of 1's content is in 2 now, but I really loved that game, and that franchise genuinely is like, that's one I'd tattoo on myself because I just loved it that much, and it got me through a bunch of times. I wonder if in 2026 we see State of Decay be spotlighted, maybe not in this dev direct, but like be spotlighted or show up in early access like Grounded 2 did and Towerborne did. I could see a world where that happens. I don't see it full releasing this year.
No, definitely not. I mean, the team themselves have only been working on it, I think, for maybe a year and a half after shifting away from supporting State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition. So I think after the fastball update, gosh, it must have been 2 years ago at this point, back in October. They have not had a whole heck of a lot of time to really put in like the meat and potatoes on that game outside of.
What if they're using Copilot to help them develop it, Logan? That's what you're forgetting.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. I did forget about that. So there is a good chance that Copilot probably did write most of the game and do the voice acting for it and most of the art. So, hopefully it wins an award for really just carrying that studio.
We're going to take that award away.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Yeah, I do want, I will say, when I hear someone's been working on something for 2 years, I want to see something.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It depends. If the game's releasing in a year, that's a good time frame for me to start hearing more about it. Anything before that, and it feels kind of like I can't think of the game.
Public or whatever.
Yeah, it's like that, don't show me vaporware, and I hate seeing just like straight trailers unless it's a well done trailer. I would say, what's Naughty Dog's game coming out called?
Intergalactic, where they're crunching in order to get a vertical slice done a year ahead of even its announced release.
Yeah, which shout out to Sony for somehow managing to still push studios to make bad choices in 2026. But that's one of those things. It's like, dude, that's early. It was a good trailer. It was just a trailer. I don't know anything about it. And I don't want to hear about it until it's actually getting close to release. So unless State of Decay 3 is like closer than we know, I'm good with it being on the back burner. What I would like to actually see if kind of going back to like our developer direct kind of update thing, Clockwork Revolution would be one that I would actually prefer to get more in depth on. But I honestly think that that's going to be like a dev update in 2027.
Yeah. I think Clockwork Revolution. Well, see, I disagree. I think Clockwork Revolution is this year.
I think it's this year because we saw it last Xbox showcase.
Yeah, I think it's this year. I think actually you get a lot of Xbox releases this year, Microsoft gaming releases this year, and they're the same thing. Our friends at the Nerd Chat were talking about like how, well, that's a Bethesda or that's Activision. That's not really Xbox. I disagree completely. That's not how it works. Nintendo made Metroid, but they had another studio come in and make it.
Retro.
Like it's an Xbox game. So I think this year you're getting Gears, Forza, Fable, Clockwork Revolution, obviously Call of Duty, Halo campaign evolved.
Are we getting a Call of Duty this year?
I think, yeah. They're not giving, at least on Switch too. You're getting Call of Duty.
Well, we're getting an Avowed this year too.
You get expansions to Diablo, expansions to Doom. You get expansions to World of Warcraft. There's one other like live service. Oh, Starfield PS5. I might have already said Starfield. So I like Xbox has got so much happening this year, and I do think they need to, balls to the wall, go all out. Don't you dare try and sell me a 25th anniversary controller that's not an Elite 3. I'll tell you that. Not buying your controllers anymore.
I love that 20th one though.
Oh, I do too.
The clear black 20th one is beautiful.
But I don't have room for a controller I'll never touch because it's not good.
That's ridiculous. I have 2 Doom controllers, one signed by the execs, and then one that's just sitting in a box. So you could find room. If I can have 2 Doom controllers, you can find room.
So obviously I love Doom, right?
Yeah.
I got the Series X wrap over there, and I have my Doom 2016 statue, a few pops, my controller. But remember I told you, like, in order to go to SGF this year, last year, I did not buy the Doom special edition because that's just hundreds of dollars that would have been a hotel room and whatnot.
Yeah.
And remember Anubis made me that 3D printed one?
Yeah.
That is my pride and joy. That is my pride and joy. I love that. I look at it every day. Like, it's positioned to where when I walk up into my gaming room, I see the statue Anubis made me.
Nice.
And like, you rest assured, if there's an Arkham remaster or anything, I'm going to be like, hey, Anubis, here's $100. Make me something epic, because it's just cool.
I can't wait for Arcane. No, not Arcane. Rocksteady? Who does the Batman?
Who does Batman games? WB Montreal does great Batman games. But Arkham is made by Rocksteady.
Okay.
But remember they made Suicide Squad, so I'm hurt.
Yeah. I can't wait for Rocksteady to announce their next Batman game, but it's actually DLC for Hogwarts Legacy.
I'll fight you. I am so excited for Legacy of the Dark Knight. I'm excited for the Arkham remaster that's not public yet, but hey, you want to know, this is we're kind of like winding down, but like, I will tell you, that is one of the things that I'm like, you know what? PC gaming's okay. Because I investigated. I was like, all right, they're not going to give it to me. Fans, what have you made? And it's like, all right, so if I download this thing, I can play this version of Arkham Knight that has this character that didn't, this bad guy, and somebody made that. I was like, all right, I'll do it for that.
Full Star Wars mod for Starfield to turn it into a Mandalorian game? Hell yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, and here's the funny part, like, so I bought a Quest 3 so I could play Arkham Shadow. Done. Right.
Yeah.
I have this PC I bought off Ains. And so like some of these mods are pretty intense, right? So I was like, do I have to upgrade my PC? And then I'm like, no, I am not doing that. That's how they get you. That's how they get you, Logan.
Yeah.
How they
get you. You buy a PC that can handle it for the next 5 years at least.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's $7,000 now.
No, that's not.
But it's so expensive.
One for Joe that was coming in at $2,500 for a decent machine.
That's wild. That's the trip to SGF. Like, that's,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we're making it to SGF this year. There's a lot. It's an expensive world, man. So
You better start buying. You better start buying those beans.
Oh no.
Can't even think of it.
Too far away, man. I was gonna prize here.
What are you talking about? It's January. We got 6 months.
Oh no.
6 months.
Oh boy. I've been banking our Patreon. I'll tell you that. That's been banking up because I'm like, all right, because we have all our podcast fee things renew close together. Not all of them, but most of them. So it's like, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still paying off my move.
Yeah, I bet.
Credit cards are fantastic, but overbearing.
I hear you, buddy. Hey, cool thing. Life update. Grad school starts on Monday for this semester too.
Nice.
So, yeah, excited for that. All right, man. Well, let people know where they can find you on socials, and then we'll do our little outro here.
I don't even know what my socials are. You can find me on Blue Sky over at quickly checks capped Logan at bluesky.com. You can also find me at capped_Logan, Logun, over on Twitter. And more or less, I spend most of my time chilling and checking people out on Discord, seeing what everyone's up to, especially with the Patreon kind of content creator channel.
That's my favorite, yeah.
In XEP, it's one of the ways that I kind of keep an eye on like what our friends are up to. Because there's just too many Discords, man. I have so many Discords. I have folders for Discords where I'm just politely a part of them because they're another creator that I've worked with in the past, and I don't want to be rude and leave their Discord when they're sitting in mine. So I've got folders upon folders of stuff where I'm just like, if I deleted this folder and all the Discords in it, I probably wouldn't cry about it, but I won't.
I understand that. I want to support everybody. But when it comes to Discords, but I'm like, Nerd Chat, come be an arse. Just be an arse. And then it's like, wait, that is so self-serving, and I am so out of pocket for that. Like then I have to be like, wait, but I'm in a similar way, but I do love our content creator section when Jampack Sam or Spreading the Nerd or David Burdett puts in their stuff, or Todd puts in it. They all put their stuff in there. It's like, oh, I've got 30 minutes. I'm gonna go watch one of my friends make content. That's fun. I enjoy that.
Yeah,
I enjoy that. So, yep. You guys can find me at Insipid Ghost over on socials. Again, a call to action, please. If you're one of our audio listeners, I see you guys on there. Please take the time to write a review. If you're in between sets, if you're at a stoplight and you're not driving, if you're able to do it in any like break in time, write that review. Subscribe if you're willing. Share it with somebody you think would enjoy it. We do not want console war noise here. We're really trying to bring great stuff to you in 2026, and it means the world. My YouTube people, thank you guys so much for being here live. If you're checking out later, please don't forget to hit the like button and share it out because it helps us out as well. Jason Schreier interviewed this coming Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern over on the channel. Would love to have you guys there. If you have a question for him, you can go. It's up now. You can go ahead and put a question in there so I can see it. And I would love to see people help us out and support there. So that is going to be it for us. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.